Welcome to the Great Plague. That should be the sign on the nursery where you're born. Because you're being born into the Great Plague of child abuse, and the child abuse starts almost immediately. I would describe the culture, the civilization that we live in, as a death cult. And I think that's becoming more and more evident these days, particularly through our media, which is ultra violent, doesn't even begin to describe it. Everything is all about murder. It's all about different types of murder, serial killers, mass shootings, wars, anything you can imagine. And of course, this country was built on war. And so I don't think it's an exaggeration or melodramatic to call it a death cult when our entire economy has always been predicated on threats of violence. Not threats of violence, actions of violence. So we're in this death cult, and on one hand, we celebrate death. We pay money to go watch movies about it, to watch things explode and people get shot to pieces with machine guns. We listen to music talking about violent stuff. Comic books, all about violence. Video games, mostly all about violence. And some of it's extremely graphic, as you know. The movies, the video games, incredibly graphic violence in the video games, which were designed as training programs for the special forces. So the cult aspect of our murderous society is, of course, necessary to get people to fight the wars. And so on one hand, we celebrate death, we profit from death, we build everything from death, and yet on the other hand, we're afraid to die. And you can see that we're in a culture where it's completely controlled by people who are extremely elderly. You have elderly people who their concept of getting old is not to pass along knowledge to the younger generation coming up. Their concept of getting old is to try and stay young forever and hold on to power for themselves. So that's why I'm suggesting that we should think about death differently. Maybe we're thinking about it all wrong. Maybe it's this mentality that we have about death that's a huge part of the problem here. Maybe we should think about death as a game. It's like when you go out and play a basketball game. You know you might win or lose, but you know you're not going to win them all. Sooner or later, you're going to lose, right? You keep playing and playing and playing, you're going to lose. And you're also going to get old. Younger players are going to come along. So people who go to play a basketball game, they generally accept that. There are, of course, some people who cannot accept losing, and they'll do anything not to lose. But most people don't care that much about it. They're there to compete, but the win or the loss really doesn't mean that much at the end of the day. And so I think that hunter-gatherers look at it that same way. When you go out into the jungle, we're very well equipped to deal with the other animals because of our brains and our tool-making ability. So, generally speaking, when humans are in a group in the wild, they're not going to be attacked. There's not going to be a village of humans that's attacked by a pack of wolves, right? I mean, if you get killed by a wolf, it's probably because you were off somewhere by yourself. And so I think, the mentality is you win some, lose some. You go out there and you play to the best of your ability, but if you lose, hey, it happens. It's not the end of the world. Whereas in the mentality of our culture, if a wolf kills someone, we're gonna go wipe out the whole species, right? We can kill them, kill them, kill them. But if a wolf kills one of us, oh, now we're gonna go commit genocide, right? So you see how insane that is? It's like the wolf can't get a win. Wolves aren't allowed to exist. We're so much above them that they can't eat us. When we live in nature where everything eats everything. If you can't accept that everything eats everything, then you just can't accept reality. You want to go live in a video game where you can make up the rules to be anything you want. If you want to live in reality, then you accept that everything eats everything. That's how it is. It's a game. Most of the time, humans win. We eat. We eat this, we eat that. We have such a wide palate, we enjoy all different types of food. Sometimes the food eats us, and eventually we're going to be eaten by the bugs and everything. So, what is this intense fear of death, of losing the game when everyone loses? You just play the best you can. This intensity of, we must live forever. It's insane. And you can see what it's led to. You can see what it's led to. I mean, look how they did in the American West with the bison. Not even because the bison were a threat, because they wanted to destroy the food source of the Native Americans. That's what they call winning. That's what they call winning in the death cult. You see how insane we are? That's why I suggest that we need to change our whole mentality about the way we see this world. People are afraid of nature. Oh my gosh, there's stuff that wants to eat me. They don't realize how badass those hunter-gatherers were. I mean, those people are tough and they're smart. They're not likely to get snuck up on by a bear. You're going to see the bear's footprints, you're going to smell the bear, you're going to see the bear's scat, you're going to see the bear's markings, on and on and on. You know what season it is, you know where they live, you know what food they like, you know everything about them. See, that's why nature is so scary to us, because we're so ignorant of it. It's like that old cliche, a babe in the woods. That's what we are. We're babes in the woods in more ways than one. But the hunter-gatherers were not babes in the woods. They were not scared of life. They were not scared to get eaten. In fact, they would consider it an honor. Some of them would consider it an honor to be the one eaten by the jaguar. We try to avoid that. We don't deliberately go lay down in the jaguar den. But if the circumstance happens, then you say, you know what? Well played. And then you become one with the jaguar spirit. No, you want to just go wipe out all the jaguars, keep life safe for humans. It reminds me of Harambe. They killed Harambe for one little kid whose own parent didn't care about it enough to keep track of it. One little kid out of literally 8 billions. But that one little kid was more important. Why? Because he's of the master race, the species that matters more than everything else. Why should anything be allowed to eat us? Let's turn ourselves into indestructible titanium robots so nothing can eat us. You get it? The fear of death that they want to instill in you is their own fear. And because when you understand the cycle, when you understand how to live amongst nature, you don't fear death anymore. It's hard for us to understand, but you can clearly see that the hunter-gatherers do not feel that way. The egotism, the selfishness is really what is causing our torment, our fears, our greatest fear, our fear of death. So maybe we should think about life like a game. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but you come back and you play again. These guys just want to take the ball and go home. It's the Great Plague.